Welcome to Scripture Unlocked, where we take a deeper look into the Bible. Not just what it says, but how and why it was written, who wrote it, and what it's meant to countless people across history. I'm Elias Monroe.
And I'm Rachel Sinclair. We're so excited to finally bring this podcast to life. It's something we've both talked about for a long time.
Absolutely. We both come from different backgrounds. Rachel's a historian and theologian, and I'm a biblical studies teacher. But what connects us is a shared fascination with the story behind the scriptures.
Exactly. Because when you peel back the layers, the translations, the interpretations, the traditions, you start to see the Bible not just as a book, but as a living record of humanity's search for meaning, truth, and God.
So, what can listeners expect from Scripture Unlocked?
Each episode, we'll dive into a specific theme or question. Some weeks we'll explore history, like how the Old Testament came together, or the archaeological evidence behind certain events.
Other times, we'll focus on the text itself, the literary structure of the Gospels, the symbolism in Revelation, or the poetic layers of the Psalms.
And we'll also talk about theology. What different traditions and scholars have said about the meaning of Scripture, and how those ideas continue to shape modern faith. And we'll also talk about theology. What different traditions and scholars have said about the meaning of Scripture, and how those ideas continue to shape modern faith.
We want this podcast to be approachable for everyone, whether you're a lifelong believer, a student of religion, or just someone who's curious about how this ancient collection of writings has influenced our world. This is a place for open minds and honest exploration.
One of the things I love most about studying Scripture is that it's never static. Every time I read it, something new stands out. A detail, a metaphor, even a question that wasn't there before.
Yes, it's alive. And that's something we want to emphasize. Understanding Scripture doesn't mean reducing it to cold analysis. It means seeing it as both divine inspiration and human expression. Words written by real people in real places, facing the same struggles and hopes that we do.
When we look at the Bible through that lens, we start to see its power in a new way. It's not just ancient history, it's a mirror reflecting our own humanity, our doubts, and our faith.
Coming up this season, we're going to explore topics like how the Bible was compiled, the mystery of the Dead Sea Scrolls, and the story of how translation shaped theology.
We'll also look at how culture and context influence interpretation, why certain passages have been misunderstood or misused, and how returning to the original languages can sometimes change everything.
Before we wrap up, I think it's worth saying the goal of this podcast isn't to tell you what to believe. It's to help you think more deeply about what Scripture is, where it came from, what it means, and why it still matters.
Yes. And maybe, together, we'll find that understanding Scripture is less about having all the answers and more about being willing to keep asking the questions.
Beautifully said.
Thanks, Elias. And thank you all for listening to this very first episode of Scripture Unlocked.
If you enjoyed today's discussion, be sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and join us next time as we begin our journey through the origins of the Bible. Who wrote it, how it was preserved, and why its story still captivates the world.